Finding a Tori is sponsored by Wordleaf Media. Welcome back to the table. You're listening to Finding a Tori. My name is Malcolm. I will be your game master for today's episode. And joining me, as always, are our two intrepid adventurers, Arcadia and Tori, from a remote location. And today we are stepping away a little bit from our high fantasy tangent and addictions and speaking to a different game and drilling down with some class, or in this case, vampiric clan exposés. So welcome, good friends.
Hey.
Intrepid adventurers.
Always.
So I don't want to belabor this, but what you two have done is really intriguing to me. You've gone to, I will say, your favorite or your chosen classes in Vampire the Masquerade and are going to do a little bit of a drill down, tell us why you like them, what we should know about them. But we don't know who's going to talk about what first because somebody has to win the roll-off. And I thought about this. I woke up thinking about the roll-off today.
What bonuses?
I was sitting there going, they're going to glare at me, and there's going to need to be bonuses. I say nay. I say that we are on equal playing field here.
Okay.
I think that we all were introduced to the game at the same time. And we all have an affinity for what we're speaking about in the same level. A no bonus cold Saturday roll-off. Check local listings. Go ahead.
Dun.
Dun, dun, dun. You ready, Bird?
Yep.
It's rough here in studio. And once again, Bird's joining us remotely because technology is awesome, and so is her voice. So she could literally be on Pluto right now. You guys don't know. What you got? Can you beat an 8?
It was a 6.
It was a 6. Can you beat a 6?
I just sent you guys the pick. I rolled an 8.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome. I like the fact that you didn't even have to be asked for proof of roll. You were like, they're not going to believe my ass anyway. Hold on. Let me take a picture. All right. So you have initiative. Tori has initiative on Vampire the Masquerade Clan Expose Day. Are you going first? Wait a minute. I've forgotten something.
We should have rolled D6s.
Different dice. We should have done dice pool.
We should have done dice pool.
I'm sitting here looking at a pile of VTM dice too.
I know, because it wouldn't have been 6s, it would have been 10s.
It would have been 10s.
Yes,
6s for
right.
Shadowrun. We would have done the
Shadowrun, yeah.
the red and black 10s. But you know what? I think we've come too far now.
All right. All right.
Should like a reroll.
We shouldn't roll D20s with VTM.
It is a little bit bad
in my hand.
No, we're good.
Okay.
You won, babe.
Initiative's been awarded. Are you going first today to talk to us?
I'm going to defer.
You're going to defer. Okay.
Hey, so, Arcadia, bring us into our first clan expose in VTM. I love your clan, but tell us who you're talking about today.
Yeah, so for a lot of people familiar with Vampire, this is not perhaps a clan they're as familiar with. So my favorite clan is the Banu Hakim, also known as the Assamites.
Right.
However, if you are Banu Hakim, that is insulting.
I was going to say, it is not a term interchangeable in kindred society without offending a group of people.
It is a misnaming.
Okay. Before we get there, you said a lot of people would not know this clan. Is that because it's not an original one that was introduced in the source books, or it's just not one that's oft-played?
So in the lore, Banu Hakim is an original clan. Hakim is a third generation vampire.
Absolutely.
So the clan has been around as long as the oldest clans, as long as it's Ventru, as long as, just the major clans that everybody knows.
So not an upstart.
Correct.
Clan. Okay.
The reason a lot of people don't know them who play the game is outside of lore. Conceptually, they were not a clan that was laid out in the player's guides as a playable clan.
Right.
They were not a part of the Camarilla. They were not just really a part of the Western world.
Geographically, they were not really involved with where the game was played in its first iteration.
Correct. And lore-wise, they were isolationist. And with the nature of the game being so much political intrigue and all of that exists within the Banu Hakim, but it's internal to the clan typically, until the most recent knights.
Did they originally hold with the Masquerade, though? Were they part of? Did they? No, they did not. And that's one of the things about the lore of the Banu Hakim that I really like, is they thrived under a different system.
They were not a part of the original treaties that agreed to the Masquerade.
Right.
And so that has never been a part of how they operated. So hiding is not a thing. And there's a piece of that too, which there, again, we get back to sort of the naming conventions,
right?
That they name things differently. You know, they don't refer to other vampires as kindred. They're Canaanites, or, you know, it's children of Cain.
Right.
It's back to the origins.
It's a different vampire culture. It's a completely different history and lineage. Bird, go ahead. Yes.
I was going to say they didn't need to hide because they have their own society, basically, correct?
Yes. So what happened is that they, when Western society sort of rose, when Second City fell, they left, and they founded their own fortress city, Alamut. And because they left the rest of kindred society behind, they just didn't do a lot of the things that in like an evolutionary process that the other clans did. Like the Masquerade, like changing of terminology, also specializing. Like all of the clans are very, very specialized.
Right. You get, based on your clan, you almost have a set of skills that is, well, almost, you do.
Right. Like, you know, you're an artist, or you are a politician,
and
or
all of
you
them
are
meant to support the Masquerade, how to blend in with mortal society. Banu Hakim really had no need to develop that at that time.
Correct. And prior to that split, the Banu Hakim already sort of had their own caste system of specialists, and they maintained that. And that is one of the reasons I love playing them as a clan, is because I have more choice on how I'm going to play my character. So instead of just being like, okay, like I'm a Bruja, so therefore I'm like, you know, a fighter.
Seems very dogmatic, yeah.
I have choices. I can be a judge. I can be an assassin, and the warriors and the judges are sort of the same caste. I can be a sorcerer. I can be a vizier, a scholar. So like they have their own castes, and so they do have some specialization, but it's not as narrow as the other clans.
And you have more options. So Bird, D&D that for me, because it sounds very familiar, like skill paths, like, you know.
It almost sounds like, okay, so it almost sounds like it's perhaps, I know, it's almost like it's a city of Vasselheim.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Okay, because, you know, they have the clerics, they have the scholars, they have the paladins.
Very similar.
And it's these paths within your chosen class, or in this game, clan, that you don't really get that kind of latitude with in other
clans.
Right, you know.
Yeah.
And it's
And it's not multi-classing, to be clear.
No.
You aren't a piece of all three
it's
of those.
It's a path. It's like a druid's path.
But you do have a choice between those three.
Right.
And that's what it sounds like to me, is they have the society and they value certain things, and because of that, like the clerics, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Sorcerers would be of that kind of ilk.
And I really like the element that they have not had to adapt using the masquerade as the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because that is their society.
And you know, they are truly, their blood sorcery is as advanced as why am I blanking on the name of the clan? The Tremere.
Right.
You know, if not more so. They've been doing it longer.
Sure.
And they never stopped doing it.
So tell me about go ahead, Tori.
I was going to say the one thing about the Banu Hakim that they've got the ability, they didn't have to hide it.
Right.
And Tremere had to hide it, so it's not. They have more of a chance to do it out in the open in their society rather than having, hide it in workshops or whatnot.
Well, and besides the fact that the Banu Hakim hate the Tremere, but let's own the fact that, the Tremere are an upstart clan. They're not one of the originals. So they haven't been doing it as long.
Agreed.
And the other piece that with the scholarly class, this piece I really like, is they have developed it's people who are scholarly. It's not you study this. It is
you're a scholar.
You are a scholar, and so you might have some that are astronomers, and you might have some who are scientists, and you might have some who are
but you
paleontologists,
the world as a scholar.
Yeah,
right.
and artisans and craftsmen, and it's people who want to become the best at what they are doing, and so that again, it's this very wide range of what you could focus on.
And you said Tremere, and I know enough of the lore that's going to be probably their least favored clan. How do they look at other clans? That's one of the things that I really enjoyed when I'm fleshing out a VTM character is they give you, hey, if these guys come walking down the street, this is kind of your clan's typical reaction. So
it's a little bit of it varies. And the reason being, something we haven't discussed, is that there is a schism in the modern knights with the clan.
Right. And
so you have the fact that because they were in the Middle East, a very, very large portion of the clan became Islamic. And then one of the elder children of Hakim, Urshulgi, came back, and he basically eradicated Banu Hakim, who chose not to follow him, and he implemented like a worship of Hakim.
Right. And anything other was a heresy and
right.
Okay.
And so that group took over the fortress city of Alamut. But there is a fair amount of Banu Hakim who refused to follow that, who left. They still are Banu Hakim, but they sort of harken back to previous ideas about it, which is religion doesn't really matter. You can follow whichever religion you want. Many of them are Islamic. And then also that really the purpose of the clan is the laws that Hakim laid down. And that's what you're supposed to be doing. And that, we honor that, but he's not a god to be worshipped. All of that, the reason I bring all that up to answer your question is that both sides, I would say, have a bit of self-righteousness, because at one point in time, all the other clan sires came to Hakim and said, we don't trust anyone else. We don't really trust you, but you've maintained neutrality. And so we're going to ask you to be our judge and executioner. And that's kind of where I was going to transition into with that adjudicator role of the Banu Hakim. Yeah. And so he found, he created children and brought them back who were judges. And their purpose was to maintain law and order between the kindred, because it was destructive to the mortals. Right. And so it wasn't Masquerade. All the mortals knew what vampires were. Sure. it wasn't a masquerade concept. It was a, like, you're killing off the herds.
Right. That if nothing else, it's poor resource management.
Right.
And we needed apparatus to adjudicate those that are guilty of that. And there's your...
Yeah. And so there is a tradition within the clan, I think, on all levels of sort of higher than we maintain the law.
That we are the high table. We are above because we have to judge and be impartial. We are separate from and beyond that.
And then the Urshulgi group just take it to a whole nother level.
Which is...
every other clan should be eradicated.
So zealotry and... Yeah. Okay, gotcha. So that's some... Tori, what do you want to know about Banu Hakim before I go down my laundry list of... can't
Did you almost say absolutely or something?
I sure as heck did. I've already caught myself once. I always pump a fist in the air when I catch myself doing it. What I want are reports from Jess about how often she's using it at home or during daily life now. I want to know how infected with the absolutely's.
My problem is I always notice it when I say it. Not on air now.
For me too. And first merch idea is just a black T-shirt, tiny white print, lowercase, absolutely, with a period.
Yes.
You should put a quarter on it.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. So, go ahead.
I want to know, because I know that they are their own. They have their own little society, and they send people out to do, like, as you said, they're judges, right?
Right.
And they are justice personified, basically, for the kindred.
They saw themselves that way all along. The other clans, after, everything separated and the masquerade and everything, they no longer utilized the Banu Hakim in that manner. And so they saw it as diablerists, because if you are imparting justice, that is occasionally, not even occasionally, that means that you are taking life, kindred. And so that was something that the Banu Hakim view as a necessity. Of justice. And the other clans, saw that and took that to be completely inappropriate, cannibalist.
Right, because that was such the sin. That is the sin.
Right.
And
go
ahead.
Camarilla uses that. They use enforcers to do the same goddamn thing.
Right. Yeah. And honestly, I do think that there's a huge piece of the difference between the Masquerade and the Banu Hakim, the clans that follow the Masquerade and the Banu Hakim, really, for the most part, is Western prejudice versus Middle Eastern, culture.
A former Ventru, I would just like to say, I neither confirm or deny what Tori has said about the Camarilla using any such tactics, and no. But no, it's so where do they find, two questions then. First one would be, where do they find themselves as a clan in the modern Knights, in the most recent Knights?
So in the most recent time frame, they are those who have separated from Alamut are now, some, not all, but joining with the Camarilla and retaking a position in that society as judges, as warriors. That's a piece we didn't really talk about, is that, they started as judges, then they got into all sorts of wars, and the judges started to learn to fight, and became the warrior caste. What, Bird?
Are they picking, like, some of the sheriff?
Yes, and that is many people who are
Judge, jury, and executioner all in one.
Yes, judge, absolutely. Jury, executioner all in one. And so, so they're sort of starting to take that role back, and they hid for the longest time that they actually still had their scholars and so the scholars are called viziers, that they actually had the viziers and that they actually had the sorcerers. And now that is sort of coming out a little bit as an alternative source for blood sorcery to the Tremere. And so they're serving that role.
So they're kind of reasserting their position into the Camarilla. You've given us so much great lore that I feel like we could just do an hour on me asking you about it. But
there's so much rich lore there in the clan, and that's a piece that I find so interesting too.
And you know what?
What?
I have figured out, and this has everything to do with the game itself. Look, D&D has its own lore.
Yeah.
But when it comes to VTM, man, oh man.
There were so many source books for that first. And then my next question was, I wanted to drill it down a little bit personally. And I think you've answered some of it or alluded to it. I know personally that you did not get a lot of time playing your Banu Hakim character. When you were creating the character, what facets of that build and that clan and those abilities and those role-playing opportunities were you looking most forward to, and maybe are, because we will play VTM again soon?
Yeah. So I chose the warrior class, and I chose the assassin route.
Right.
And which is so stereotypical of what people think of as the quote unquote Assamite clan.
Right.
But what I liked about it is that when you learn the older lore, is that you get to apply that role with purpose. And so like, for example, in the lore, one of the famous Banu Hakim spies, and that's really where I'm going more. I lean more spy than assassin entirely, but is like Matahari.
Okay.
And it's things like that where like people who can make a difference in the world,
sure,
because of the skills that they have learned as Banu Hakim. And that is what I liked about taking on that role, that there is, I don't know, there's a bigger influence outside of just the world of the kindred. And I liked taking on the role that the idea that, yeah, we're putting our foot in the water and we're playing nice with the Camarilla, but we are not Camarilla. Like,
right.
We have our own purposes.
Very, very unique clan. And when I was GMing that game, kind of looking for tie-ins, you had, versus, an urban brouhaha brawler that you can just kind of mix into the shit. There's a higher level of intrigue if you're working with an element outside the Camarilla. And
I'm glad you said that, because this is what really appeals to me. I like fighters. I like smart fighters. I like sophistication. I like strategy. I don't want to play a brawler.
Right.
If I was looking at depictions of gods or goddesses, I like Athena.
Sure.
I want the war strategy. Banu Hakim gives you that. So many of the other clans that do fighting, it's brawling.
It moves from a brawling standpoint. Yeah. Bird, do you have anything else, any other questions on? Because once again, like, especially with the lore, you could span episodes on just Banu Hakim lore. But there's so many source books out there. I wanted to say really quick, and I'll echo it again in the second segment of our episode. There is a, maybe I'll come back with the title of the movie, but there's a really great documentary on White Wolf, and The World of Darkness is actually the name of the documentary, and goes really into some of the clans and why people and players identify with them. And I think that it's very cool that you think about the Middle East. Even if you're a scholar in the Middle East throughout history, you are around war. You are affected to become a warrior. Continuously. It's honed. It's, anyway, I didn't want to blather skide on over there, but that's very, very cool. And I recommend the documentary as well, as I always do.
Awesome.
Bird, anything else on the formerly Assamitish Banu Hakim?
No, I think it's really cool that it's one of the first 13 clans, and they've managed to they've moved with the times, but they've managed to keep themselves to a certain, like, oh God.
They
what is the
harken
word
back
I'm
to older days. The
They do,
traditions.
and they have that. They've kept that in play without it without it becoming this insular, like
They're not stagnant and stuck in the
they're not
past.
zealots either.
Right.
Right.
Well, part of the clan is.
Well, guys, when we
I
do
mean-
this, let's because we have an entire other clan
I
expose
know.
ahead of us. I'm so excited. We may follow up. I don't know if listeners, any other folks beyond me want to hear more about that, then we can come back to it. But let's take a quick break. We'll let people babble about sponsorships, and then we will come back, and Tori is going to walk us into the world of the Malkavian.
Yes.
All right. Very, very cool, guys. We'll be right back after these messages. This episode of Finding a Tori is brought to you by Wordleaf Media. The Finding a Tori podcast is looking for guests for our upcoming episodes. Are you or someone you know passionate about the TTRPG community and have a story to share? If so, contact us on our socials or reach out at wordleafmedia.com/findingatoria. And now back to your program. Welcome back to Finding a Toria. We are in the middle of a Vampire the Masquerade clan expose episode, and we just all off air agreed that there will be more Banu Hakim lore, possibly hours on just, gosh, a continuous basis. I think that there'll be a new show.
My backstory for my character in that is the best backstory I've ever
I'm
written.
just sitting there going, why are we not playing more VTM? There's a growing frustration in the studio. But we are back, and we're going to stoke this fire a little bit hotter now because I know very much Tori as a player, and Tori's class choices are always very intentional, and she plays the shit out of this next clan that we're getting ready to discuss. So I'd like to throw it over to Bird to talk to us about her clan expose.
All right, and I have to preface this because when we had played as a crew when it first came out.
Yes.
And I was told specifically you cannot play this class.
Yes.
And I went, man. There were two classes that I was not allowed to play, and one was Malkavian and one was Gangrel.
Can I interject something a little bit alarming really quick that just happened while I was preparing for the episode? We need a binding fix on the original Shadowrun book.
Yes.
Yeah, I had pages fall out into my hand today. So anyway, yes. And then I got lost in the art for a while. But I'm sorry. No, go right back to, you're right. At that point in time, we agreed as a table that you were not going to take on those roles to play.
No, which is fine because I probably would have gone way overboard because I am not the same gamer I was back then.
Right. It was a smart move that we all agreed upon. I don't think that we pushed you into a decision.
No, and I think I played Toreador.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
yes.
played Toreador, which is a very it would not fit me now at all.
Mm-mm.
At all.
So instead, with the new version, you allowed yourself access to one of the character clans that you did not originally.
I did, and I picked Malkavian. And this is kind of a joke clan when it comes to vampire.
See, and I know you're going to get there, but I just have to say it's one of the reasons I love that you picked it, because when you do a character, you do it so intentionally and so well. Like there is no possibility of it being a joke. You optimize what you're using.
You were going to get a full Malkavian PC experience being at that table.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where I know a lot of people just play the fringe elements of that clan.
Yeah.
Well, and there's actually a term for those joke characters, and they're called fishmalks.
Mm-hmm.
One more time.
Fishmalks.
Fishmalks.
Oh, okay. I'm making notes.
And I think the first handbook, there was one it's a Malkavian wielding a fish.
Oh.
Okay. So a lot of people play these characters as these completely insane characters, but that's not how they're supposed to work. There's air quotes there.
Right. And that's what I was going to say is, I mean, they do that because that's the high level stereotypical understanding of the clan, right?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing is it's whatever basically mental illness that they have, that becomes the biggest part of their personality.
Okay.
So, I just want to throw this out here. I'm holding in my hand the clan book. And what's in my hand is so the handbook that I'm holding, and we talk about in other episodes, art not doing any favors to how things are perceived, and I want to give a little bit of credit because it is that fantastic Timothy Bradstreet cover art, but it is a guy in a straitjacket that is covered with blood, with his mouth taped, looking maniacally in a room. Yeah, it's
crazy as fuck.
Crazy as fuck in a room, and that's what they want your first impression of a Malkavian to be.
Well, and here's the fun part. It is one of the oldest surviving lineages.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you would think that the Camarilla, Camarilla, they are all about order, correct?
Right, structure.
Right. One of the pillars of the Camarilla is the Malkavians.
And where do they fit in? What is their role in their coteries?
They're seers. They're the ones who have the empathy. They're the ones who have those extra powers that they can use to, advance whatever the Camarilla wants them to do.
I was going to say that the key word there is used.
Oh, yeah.
Tools of,
absolutely. Keep them locked in a room, and when you need to know something, go talk to them.
Because they're...
True, true.
Sire... No, they don't know because they're sheriffs and stuff. They're out.
Oh, okay.
They're out because once again, most of the time with Malkavians, you see them as a completely nut job, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's completely insane. That's not true. When they are embraced, what happens is whatever, and they're usually picked on purpose.
Yeah.
For the specific gifts, like that high sense of empathy, any second sight. Like any of those, psionic powers, to put it bluntly, they're picked for that. Unfortunately, it's usually some sort of mental illness that goes with it. And when they're embraced, that part can get accentuated.
Sure.
Now, most people think, oh, they're all schizophrenics. They're not. In fact, Alice has OCD.
And Alice is your character.
Alice is my character, and Alice has OCD, which gets way worse the more stress she gets.
And you said it can be any mental illness that can be chosen.
It can be agoraphobia. It can be it can be bipolar disorder. It can be any of the personality disorders. Any mental illness.
And is it up to the sire to see, okay, this would be enhanced in this way and it would be beneficial because of this? Or is it a clan decision? How is that done?
Most of them, let's see, blah, blah, blah.
Malcolm is very engaged in the
I'm
handbook.
so sorry. I was inside the Malkavian
no apologies, man.
Clan book. It's usually they specifically they're going for whatever that gift is that's it manifesting itself when they're mortal.
Okay. Is it
As they aim for that.
so? Is it more like they're looking for people who have the sight and things like that as a mortal, and then we can deal with the OCD, or is it that they look at the mental illness and they know like ways that that's going to be enhanced, that's going to be beneficial?
I mean, they realize that, because the problem here, the problem with Malkavians is they have a tendency to abandon their children.
Oh, okay. So there isn't as much, like, they choose purposefully, but it's not like an embrace and here bring you into the clan and train you up.
Right. But once again, if they are doing it at Camarilla's behest, they're going to take that Malkavian and put them under some sort of tutelage.
Right, so that they can be used by the Camarilla. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Going back to that tool thing.
If left to their own devices, they're not like gangrels that could go feral, but they're not going to know how to get anything under control. And since they do have that, whatever the underlying mental issue is, I mean, they have to find some ways to mitigate that so they're not just these crazy vampires killing people in the streets, right?
Sure.
Bird, we talked about in a previous episode my love of negative traits for PCs. Mm-hmm. And it just is a role-playing element, and it seems almost built into the Malkavian that is going to be a hindrance, not only on death and unyielding hunger, but yes, if you're walking around dealing with obsessive compulsive disorders or any number of things, it's just going to be and I had a note written down. I think it's probably one of the most difficult yet rewarding classes or clans of any game that I know to play. It's got to be very difficult to always have that aspect impact interactions and encounters in a role-playing setting.
Well, and that's why I don't know if you remember, and it's getting away from the clan, but at least the way I play it, if you remember, my character has both her cell phone and her tarot cards.
Right. I do remember that.
And the tarot cards help mitigate some of that OCD, but also help with the aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So, all right, we've talked. We've asked a lot of questions. Tell us about the clan. Just like if you had to summarize the clan for someone who knew nothing.
2-minute elevator pitch on Malkavians. Go ahead.
Well, okay, so you could barely, if they were not, you can't really tell they're a clan, because they're nominally a clan. Because, and I never talked about the Cobweb either.
Right.
Because that one, it was, they have always been kind of outliers because they're dangerous. Because if left to their own devices, those negative traits can go very badly and can shatter that the masquerade. Like it can get rid of that. They become visible very quickly. That's
the thing, is it can go sideways, especially with the sight element. And you were talking about the spider web that I think is very cool.
Cobweb, yeah.
Cobweb.
Pardon me. Yes.
I mean, which is a spider web.
Yeah.
But at any rate, it's interesting because of their power and their lack of, I guess, desire to keep the masquerade. For a lot of Malkavians, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't register in the way that it does for a lot of other clans. They are somewhat the liability there in blowing the masquerade.
Okay, so they started with Malkav, who was in Enoch, right?
Yeah, so is he a third generation?
He is.
Yes.
He was embraced by one of the second generation. he was particular, and here's an interesting one, particularly close with two other kindred, right? And one was Salute, which is the founder of the Salubri.
Yep.
And Set.
Yep.
So, and they think that they probably share the same sire of Enoch.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about that is the Banu Hakim aren't 100% certain who their sire is, but they talk about a sibling of Hakim, and that would make Hakim also a child of Enoch.
So, but yeah,
So
they're
just
one of
as
the
deep
old,
lore. I mean, they are not. Once again, they're not a Tremere. They're not an upstart new magic
Right.
clan. They go back.
Yeah.
and that's one, and so the ruling classes have figured out that they're pretty freaking powerful in their own right. They just need babysitters,
Right.
Right.
basically.
Well, they need babysitters if you want to maintain the masquerade.
Right. So, and they have, and after the flood, Malkav was ambushed and assassinated, right?
They
Okay.
are. Yeah.
But,
Hakim wasn't.
well, hold on. He's not gone.
Okay.
His consciousness exists in the Madness Network, which is the Cobweb,
The Cobweb, yeah.
which is it encompasses all the Malkavians.
It's
Like,
kind
they
of like a
have
walkie-talkie network.
A telepathic network.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But in some of the Malkavians, this is kind of funny. When Gehenna arises, Malkav's going to come out of the network, and he's going to devour the clan whole and reconstitute himself from that.
Okay. Well,
So-
that's something to look forward to.
When Dad gets home, you're really gonna get it.
Yeah, right. So because what they ended up doing was when back in like earlier history, they were put up as oracles and soothsayers because once again that ability was prized and they do have it.
Right.
It also makes them good advisors.
I was going to say a
And-
little consigliere role there.
Right. In fact, they were some of the best advisors to the Ventru in Rome.
Okay. Is this
Okay.
because of the ability, the oracle type abilities?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the crazy
and-
doesn't interfere with intellect.
No. And that's the thing is with that crazy part doesn't have to be an all-encompassing thing. It can be anything. The only problem is if you have it when you were alive, it's going to be amplified in death. It will give you extra stuff, but it's going to get worse. But there's tons of mental illnesses that aren't debilitating.
Correct.
Correct. Just divergencies.
So it just makes it worse. It doesn't complete. So, yeah, there's the madmen. There's tons of names for them. Where is it? I saw it. There's tons of names for them. I thought some of these were kooks, seers, lunatics. That one is a big one. Madmen and Cassandras.
Cassandra's,
Yeah.
that's the one I was
Right,
waiting
right.
for.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cassandras is and that one is because she was literally a famous Malkavian, and she was a seer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Clan
One of the
the
best
Blue-
known.
Yep.
How about
Clan of the Blue-
Nostradamus? Do they have any lore around Nostradamus?
No.
Rasputin.
Oh, yeah.
Rasputin was a known Malkavian.
Hold on. No, it doesn't say anything. They do have a problem. They had a problem like in the Dark Ages because after Rome collapsed,
Witches.
they were persecuted for their derangement,
Yeah.
which is one of those nags.
That's what I was going to say is when it comes to the game, as a person playing a Malkavian, how does the crazy aspect impact gameplay? Like when you're just in the world doing what you need to be doing, how does that interact with the gameplay?
If you notice, she had her phone out almost immediately when shit hit the fan, even though she had computers in front of her. And I think we were getting on a train at one point, and I had brought out her tarot.
Right.
Because she had to try and get her anxiety under control, and to do that, she was dropping into aspects.
And I remember that as GMing some of those sessions, I understood that there was a scale, and I informed you as the player as things sort of would heighten that, or you would inform me and say, okay, this is something that Alice would not be okay with. And it was almost, in my mind, one of those hunger elements. Like at some point in time, it's going to affect gameplay.
Yeah.
Not like taking the character away from you. That's yours to role play and you do it well. But hey, you are affected by this right now. So there either needs to be focus on those aspects. There needs to be getting out of the situation, or maybe you'll have an action that is due to that impacts the game. I like that element of it.
Why do you choose? Why did you choose Malkavian? Why is that one of your favorites?
You know what? I really like the idea of having, like a power like that, and the ability to manipulate. Because honestly, like with my character, she's a manipulator. She was a blackmailer before she was dead.
Yeah. I remember when we were playing, I thought it was very interesting because, I said my character Freya was focused towards the spy assassin route. And the fact that you and I were both sort of bringing to the table this information network and manipulation with the information network. Like we were going to work very well together.
I made her as an information broker.
Right.
Basically. And it was because before she was dead, she was blackmailing people and doing all sorts of shady shit online.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she had a real knack for it, but she ran afoul of, I think, the Tremere.
Oh, darn. Can't stand the Tremere.
When you live in London...
Just kidding. That's just my character. It's not me.
It's Tremere Central.
When you live in London...
Isn't Jess playing a Tremere? I had so much fun with that.
When you run afoul of the Camarilla, there are two choices. Either they're going to kill you, or they're going to use you. Now, luckily, in my case, I had a sheriff who came to find me, but the sheriff happens to be what is going on there? The sheriff happens to be, or was a Malkavian, and figured out, recognized that and went, I think we have a better use for her.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's my second one. I felt it was obligatory. I've got to get a couple in there. I really enjoy it. It's almost in high fantasy. I love to watch you flex your muscles playing a rogue. It is it's a class of character that you just really know how to go through the motions and the gears with in an effective and fun way. And I think that you match that with your VTM role play of a Malkavian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and they have some really nasty, like negs, and one of it's called fractured perspective.
Okay, give us a
Right?
little bit about that.
If you look, the like clan crest type thing is a broken mirror.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see that, but it is. They can have, visions of clarity, delusions, or something like that.
So it gives the possibility that the seeing cannot be trusted. So there's more chaos in the soup.
Right. And also, mortals don't like them.
I imagine not.
They give off this, it's called unnatural manifestation. Mortals don't want to be anywhere near Malkavians because we are the weirdos, mister.
Because it gives them the
Because
it gives them the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, it's got this like real nasty, creepy aura that mortals catch onto. And actually, a lot of the kindred don't like them either.
Yeah, just not too many variables. Once again, I go back to my history playing as a Ventru and order above everything else and predictability in order above everything else.
When your sole driving force is to maintain secrecy, the Malkavians
Too many variables.
are too many variables.
Yeah.
Can't be controlled.
Right. Well, and they also there's something really cool that I thought was pretty cool, the Cobweb. So the Cobweb is this loose net of all the Malkavians, and sometimes there will be something called Malkavian time, and it's when all the Malkavians all of a sudden are like, hey, we need to be over here like in 2 days. And they don't know why.
They mind meld.
It's a calling sort of thing.
It's a calling sort of thing. And sometimes you can. The problem is it's not ordered. It's a mess. And sometimes you can get stuff from the Cobweb, but you don't know what is true and what is delusions, because once again, none of them are right.
Okay.
Honestly,
it sounds like it's a really challenging but interesting clan to play.
Difficult and rewarding is what I wrote down.
Mm-hmm.
It's a two-edged sword.
Right.
Definitely does. I think that the second, once again, our second clan expose could go well into a third day and night if we had the time for it. If you're listening and you have more questions about the Banu Hakim or the Malkavians, which we're going to wrap up here in a second, ask, because I think that we're coming back to this at some point and doing a deeper dive on both.
Or if you are interested in one of the other clans and you want us to dive into them, let us know on our socials.
That's an incredible idea. Yeah, we could keep doing exposés.
Yeah.
I've got a gangrel that would love to talk.
Perfect.
Or if you've never played VTM and this has piqued your interest, talk to us. We can do some stuff about just general VTM knowledge, how to transition and start playing a VTM game.
And you can talk to us online, all of our Finding a Tori socials. You can find us at www.wordleafmedia.com/findingatoria. And you can interact with us there, and you can support us on our Patreon. So there are different tiers. There's an ever-growing library of content, including some things that we're going to put down today that I'm excited about doing. Keep one eye on that story.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and our lore drop went live last week.
And the lore drop is live. You can take a peek at Arcadia.
Yeah.
And we're gonna build out some things from there. But Tori, Arcadia, thank you both so much for spending the time today, coming in with such great information about the clans, and we look forward to speaking to you folks again soon. Until then, thank you for finding a Toria. Tell them bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.